So first of all, I'll take Frank. So you are not a super soldier, as I understand it, but you're very interested in the big researcher in the super soldier phenomena.
Yes, I became interested because I was also researching alien abduction, and a lot of the themes that I had already paid attention to in stuff that I pay attention to the mythology of in general, like comic books and video games, they all seem to intersect here in the super soldier field. So it's just another paranormal thing I've taken on, but it's wound up being quite a case in and of itself, and extending, possibly over years, the way that alien abduction has for me.
Brilliant. How did you get into it in the first place? What was your interest?
Mainly just the manipulation of memory and possible mind control procedures used, not only in alien abduction, but in the super soldier phenomenon. I basically just started listening the same place like Project Camelot and a lot of these nodes where people can come out and kind of talk about their experiences. A lot of this stuff was crossing over. And so it's still up in the air, really, as to whether we're talking about implanted memories or whether we're talking about abductions of some kind, or whether we're talking about the manipulation of dreams, or all of the above.
Right. And you and James as well. I mean, I understand that you don't even know your date of birth.
Well, I know my date of birth says in my birth certificate. However, through all sorts of different, I would say, regressions and remote viewing sessions, my file that they're keeping on me on their computers basically has my date of birth blacked out.
Right. Listen, boys. If you can hang on, I'm going to have to log out and log in again because again we've they can't hear us at all apparently.
So how you doing there, James?
I'm doing good. That was those two pictures are the cut marks I had last night and the night before.
Oh wow, yeah, they're not. I mean, I have a Windows computer, but they're not bringing anything up. Oh, now they are. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know what.
Did we? I'm sorry. What?
I can hear you. I can still hear you, but I'm still just logging back into the studio. All right.
No worries. Did you find out anything else about Mr. Prince?
He sent me a bunch of text messages. I haven't gone through it all.
Oh, okay. You were starting to say something about last night, I believe.
Yeah, I think I was on a mission last night. I think the night before was mission 6345. I don't know anything about it. So don't ask. I don't know what else, but I guess probably has something to do with the reptilians. Sarah,
I'm annoying. Yeah,
how
annoying
live
is this?
Show?
Yeah, it's a live show, and they've totally we're just locked out. I think.
Uh-oh.
We've
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I started recording this 4 minutes ago.
Yeah. Right. Again, it's just no. Again, this has never ever happened before. I can't believe it. Right, I just refresh.
This actually happened a week ago when I was supposed to be on another show.
It's just amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing.
Well,
We suspected that something like this would happen, but it's saying that it just says host disconnected. But I've tried to log back in twice and it won't let me in at all. So I haven't got a clue what to do.
Is there a back door? Maybe.
I haven't got a clue. I'm just getting Paul Giovanni to try and find out what the hell to do. I'm talking to him at the moment on Skype at the moment, and just sign in as you usually do. I just have done.
Maybe you could call in or something like that instead of Skype.
Yeah. All right. We'll give it another go, and I'll log out and log back in again. Okay, just try that. Sorry about this, guys.
Oh, no worries at all.
You still there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, good. That's the main thing, keeping hold of you two. So. Again, it's coming up with the show, but can't hear a thing.
Well, what do we do?
I don't know.
Should we just go? I mean, course, I am recording it. You could always play this on another show.
Yeah.
I'll just send you the file, and you can just play it next week. And
Yeah, I think that'll be what we'll have to do. We're just going to have to go with it, aren't we? And play it. Thank you. Bloody hell. Right, this is so annoying. Sorry, boys.
Oh, it's fine. Sarah, if you weren't quite prepared to do it not in the capacity of your show, I think we would understand.
Yeah, no, I'll still keep going. I'm just feeling bad for everyone that's listening.
Yeah, I understand.
We've got all these people listening in and nothing to show for it. So if there's any way that we can get them, I'm just getting another message from Paul through. So I've tried logging in and logging out again. Yeah, so log out. I'm going to have one more try. Log in. Bugger. It's all right. Yeah.
so while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and read.
Yeah, you go for it, Chick.
Caswell texted me. So he sent a couple of pictures. He claims there's this one car from Fort Meade outside his room. Okay, and then he says, last 2 days I returned back to my hotel room, and 2 days later, about 4 a.m. from the hospital, was shot in car park the night before and bullet ricocheted and bust car window. Was staying at a hotel in San Antonio with NSA cars from Fort Meade parked outside my window. And he says he was shot in the head and bullet ricocheted and hit the window. Wow. So I guess they were trying to kill him. He didn't say he was shot in the head, but I guess they shot him in the head, and the bullet bounced off of him. That's interesting.
It sure is.
I guess whoever was sent to assassinate him obviously didn't get all the intel on this guy. You can't kill him with a bullet. Either that, or maybe he used some kind of psychic ability to neutralize the bullet. I wonder if the same thing would happen to me if some douche tried to shoot me. So
we're to understand he knew it was coming, or he saw someone get out of the vehicle and approach his? Is that what I'm hearing?
I really don't know, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's got a picture. It looks like, what kind of car is that? I think it's a Mini. Department of Defense. It says Fort Meade. But the car that was shot has its bunch of glass broken, and he said he was shot in the head. Oh, I see. So he was shot in the head, then that bullet ricocheted into that car. So maybe they knew it wouldn't kill him. So they were trying to send him a message that the NSA is watching them and say, this is what we'll do if you don't shut up. But I don't really understand. Huh?
Oh, I was just saying, so he was or wasn't in a car, in your opinion? Himself.
Hold on. God, everybody's calling me now.
I'm sorry, man. I was just trying to understand if the car from Fort Meade was the same one that the shooter came from, or if that was one surveying him or something, and then this other one.
It doesn't say where it was shot, but he did give a video diary, and I haven't listened to it yet. Okay, so he was at the Town Place Marriott, I guess in San Antonio. Oh, looks like he just sent me another text message.
Right, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, can anyone? I'm just thinking in the chat room if they can hear me as well. I'm just trying to find out what the bloody hell's happening.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
right. It looks like Paul Giovanni's going to have to take over, and he'll call us in. I think that's probably the best thing to do. So, right, let me write in your Skype details so he can call you in himself, and we'll do it that way. Love. Right, okay. Well, I'll just dial out and dial in again, and we'll try it one last time. You boys must be pretty high up to get this sort of reaction. Paul's reckon he's never known this happen ever before.
I had the same problem when I did another show in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same show I did with Dolores Cannon.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I was listening to that. I was actually listening to
Uh-huh.
that.
But
That was brilliant.
they got it to work by calling me in. I think they called me.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if
All
you have
right. I'll tell him
internet
that.
signal
Well,
on.
this is looking better. I think we can. I think we're probably all right. Let me just play a jingle and then see if I can hear it. All right. Just give me 1 second. No. Still can't hear a thing. Well, at least I've got the microphone thing back, so it's looking better than it was. But it's not. It's just.
Is there somebody else who could host this show while you try
I
to?
don't know. I'm just trying to find out.
What is this like is this show live on UK?
It is live. It's absolutely live. Yeah. But at the moment, they can't. The people listening can't hear a thing. Yeah. So I've tried to just play in the jingles and what have you, but it's just not having it. So because usually I can hear the jingles as they're playing, and it's absolutely gone dead as a dodo. It says we're on air. It says we're on air, and it says that everything's all right, but it's just nothing. Right? Can anyone hear me? Anyone hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you can. It's just the people. I'll just mute my microphone or mute it again, and see whether anyone can hear. Anyone can hear anything in the chat room, please? Right, I'm going to play some music anyway and try and sort out what's going on. Bloody annoying. I've been really looking forward to talking to you guys.
I'm sure we can figure out at some point.
I really don't understand what the hell's going on.
Well, this is a very interesting show we're having here today.
I know it is. It's terrible. Yeah. I do apologise. Normally it goes like a
Absolutely
dream. I'm
riveting.
so sorry. Right, I'm going to leave it for them to. What I'll do is I'll leave it for them to try and sort out what's happening. And again, I've lost it all again. It just keeps going. Episode ended. So back again.
Maybe you should try rebooting your computer.
Well, I don't think it's anything to do with the computer because everything else working absolutely fine, and they can actually hear the audio now, but they can't hear us speaking. It's as if we have been totally wiped out.
Is there a way we can call in through some other?
I'm just going to find out now. I'll just find out, see if you can call in. It says here, it says guest call in. I'll give you the number if that helps.
Maybe you should just call into your own show.
I know. That's what I'm just trying to find out. Apparently, Paul G's just working on it.
Do the people at the station know that there's a problem?
They do know that there's a problem, and they're trying to sort it out. But it's like it just keeps they can't find out what the hell's going on. But I've kept redialing in and what have you, and it's just not happening.
Well, this is why I like to do pre-recorded shows because you just know.
I can understand it.
This has happened so many times.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I think, but you say that you're recording it, then, are you?
Yeah, but we're not really talking about anything.
No, I know, right. Well, I think we just forget this. If they manage to sort it out, they manage to sort it out. If not, we've tried everything we can do from our end.
All right.
So I think as long as you're recording it, we'll carry on and just see what happens. So, Sarah Goodley, I'm the Irate woman on Critical Mass Radio, and welcome. We'll start from here because we've had quite a few technical problems. So I understand this happens on quite a regular basis, boys.
Hi, Sarah. Yeah, I can't remember. This is probably like the fifth or sixth show that I've done that they've. I say they. I can't say who they are, but they. The show's been knocked off the air or some kind of weird technical problem. But that's why right now we're pre-recording this, and I don't know. I guess you can play this later or whatever it is, but at least now we can at least continue on to some degree.
Good. And would you like to tell me a bit about yourself then, please, just for my benefit? I do understand that you got when you're on your birth certificate when you're supposed to have been born, but there's no real way of telling this, and that you feel like you were actually brought up in the underground base situation, a bit like the same as James
Okay.
Casbolt or
Yeah.
Michael Prince.
All right. Well, look. Okay. So basically, my birth certificate says I was born March 1980. However, through remote viewing and regressions, and also people that have been able to actually look at my file that they're keeping on me. When I say they, I would this Milab faction, I guess you could say. My birth date appears to be blacked out, so I was always quite interested, like, why would it be blacked out? And I from what I'm, at least different regressions, I would say about 5 or 6 different sources all said that I was part of Project Surrogate. And basically what that means is they inserted me into a surrogate family. And I believe it was done not necessarily because a lot of contactees and star kid children come to this planet by being implanted into their mother's womb. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe they actually switched me out for another kid. I can't prove it, and obviously I don't talk about this stuff with my folks because it kind of freaks them out. So I can't really get their input, but that's apparently what I'm able to gather from them going through all these different sources. And I like to say multiple sources all say Project Surrogate, and a couple sources say my birth certificate is blacked out.
Right, and so obviously I'm a bit distracted with what's going on, so this isn't my usual interview style, so you have to bear with me. I'm still trying to sort out the technical problems and see if we can get back on. But yeah, this seems to be quite a familiar story as well. I've listened to a lot of the Michael Prince tapes and also a lot of the Amash stuff and the Basis stuff, and it seems to be that you seem to know a lot of the other people involved, that you feel like you've been on missions. And you were saying when we were off that you feel like you were on a mission last night.
Yeah, well, I don't have any conscious recall of what I was doing, but I woke up with another needle mark on my lip, and the night before that I just got in from the gym, and my mouth just well, actually I was messing with my cell phone because I was having trouble getting it to turn on. I was thinking that's odd. Of course, a lot of times they get locked up and stuff, but right then I had a cut mark, like a blister or some kind of scab show up on my lip. It's almost like right where the lip touches your teeth, and the gums of my teeth were bleeding too. So it was like somebody was doing some kind of surgery, and I'm assuming what happened is they stopped time and then did the surgery and then put me back, or they could have picked me up and then put me or did their surgery on me or whatever they were doing. Then they put me into this alleged trip chair or trip seat, depending on what side of the Atlantic you're on. And they can put in implanted memories, making me think I was at the gym working out when I was actually in an underground facility. Or maybe, like I said, they could have stopped time, physically stopped time, so that way that I don't notice any differences. Or it could be like in another dimension where there isn't time. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different possibilities here. I'm not quite sure, what exactly they're injecting me with. I believe it has to do with nano injections, possibly something to do with mutating my DNA for whatever purposes that they have in mind, which is probably not necessarily the best.
No, I can imagine. And Frank, can you tell me a bit about what you know about what is happening to James? You've obviously researched it's a hell of a lot. So how
hold on, and Frank, why don't you give a little introduction about yourself so we know who you are?
Yeah, please. Yes, of course.
Thanks,
We've
James.
done that already. We've done that already once, but obviously we're going to start from where we started again because of the technical problem. So if you don't mind introducing yourself and telling us a bit about why you got interested in all this in the first place. Sorry if it's repeating, but it's,
sure. No worries. So I'm Frank Zero, and I've had an interest in many years in the alien abduction phenomenon. And in a lot of other areas, paranormal and sort of occult research and things related to that. And I guess the big players throughout history and what their interests were and things. And then I also have this separate interest since childhood in just cartoons and comic books and stuff like that. And oddly enough, almost all those things merge in the super soldier field in a very real way. And then essentially just the idea of manipulating people's minds or making them think that they're either seeing aliens or they are seeing aliens or anything, any of these possibilities are curious to me, and I'd like to know a little more about what's going on. In James's particular case, I think that just from what I've gathered from looking at this thing as a whole and dealing with a lot of the different types and different generations, if you will, of super soldiers, I think is part of mostly a sleep-oriented program whereby his mind or essence is put into, avatar bodies, if you will. And although this stuff sounds really far out, we're getting really close to technologically admitting it's where we want to be. It's kind of the next step in not only where science is going to take technology, but where just simply people want to be when they're playing video games and things like that. So I think that he's part of a generation that mostly is used during their sleep and sometimes experience effects when they wake up, physiological, real effects from things that happened in the mission, or as he was talking about before, trip chairs or different technologies that can be used to kind of quickly boot speed boot someone into one of these programs or these dimensions, if you will. And that's about all that I can clarify for you about him individually. I would really say to look at this stuff in general, look at a bunch of the different cases and try to see the resemblances between them and get a picture in your head of what's going on, because it's still not a complete picture, where we all just have our own puzzle pieces. But he's done a terrible amount of work in working with other people and himself, a lot of self-work, and put it out there for people to understand what's going on. So you can really, spend a few hours or a few days on his YouTube channel and get an understanding of what type of soldier he is, if you will.
Yeah, and I've been looking on James's stuff, and what's coming up for me is how you deal with just disappearing from where you are, how you and not even really knowing where you've been and what you've been doing and everything.
It's been going on for so many years. I don't really have much of a choice. I was told by one person that if I don't get these portals to close in my home, because what they're trying to do is they're injecting me with these nanophages, which are, of course, like nanites or nanobots. They're little tiny robots. They attach to the codons of your DNA to mutate it. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to shut me down emotionally so that I become a total robot. Okay, that's totally, they can control everything about me. I just use your imagination. And the problem is that over the years, I've slowly noticed this, but I'm slowly losing my sense of smell. And I was told by a clairvoyant, if I don't get these portals to close in my home and get these people to stop, I'm going to stop. I'm basically losing my sense of smell. And so I'm kind of a little bit frustrated about it. I just don't know exactly what to do. I mean, I tried so many different things. I mean, people say, well, why don't you write these Reiki symbols on the wall? And I tried that. And I said, why don't you ask Archangel Michael to come around your house? And I'm like, well, I do that. And, I'm sure he's coming around, but they still keep coming in. And they said, well, why don't you call on the time travelers from the future to help you out? Well, I did, and it stopped for a couple days. But then again, it started up again, so I don't know. I'm kind of out of options. Of course, I didn't. I did grow up as a conservative Christian, and I did try prayer as well, just let people know. So
yeah, I mean, this is what's the thing that's concerning me. Is that I deal a lot with, I'm involved with stopping child stealing by the state. I'm involved with the Fertility and Birth Network, and I've run a company with my sister called Birth for Life. And what really bothers me is the transhuman agenda. Hello, are you there still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
if we get cut off at any stage, what Paul's going to do is he's going to end the episode and he's going to rebook it for 7:00.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be that everything goes, or it may be that I just sort of shut you down and then try and get on again for 7:00, and
Okay.
call you back in again. So it could be that's what we do. But yeah, it's the whole transhuman agenda, which I think has been rolled out through vaccinations and everything like that. And basically, what I'm concerned about is what's happening to you, James, is what will be happening to most of, if we can call it humanity. I don't know if we can call it humanity in the future.
I'm glad you brought this up because there was another regression I did with someone. She went into the future timeline where Milabs, which is the group behind all this, was successful. Well, let me rephrase that. They weren't stopped, so they were allowed to continue on unabated. And in that timeline, there was basically two classes of people. There was the elite class who ruled everyone, and then there was this genetically engineered slave class who had no emotions, no senses, and they were just drones. And this is the society or the world that we're headed if we don't stop these people. And a lot of people don't understand is that you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. And I know even within the UFO community, they don't even want to touch this subject matter. Of course, I know, Frank, you've talked about this as well. And I think it's important that this is brought into the mainstream. Oh, heck, I guess they even really brought UFO stuff. You know what? Maybe this planet is just maybe it should just go through a cleansing cycle. I don't know. It's just so messed up. People don't want to recognize or realize what's going on. I mean, how can we fix it?
Yeah, I mean that's my big
destruction, and they don't.
Mm.
Well.
Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry, James, I interrupted you then. Don't like doing that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to come in there, Frank, because say my main concern is what the hell is going on, what on earth is going on, especially with the children, and with vaccines and with the birth processes that induce early trauma that make children more likely to be mind controlled, etc. So, do you want to come in there?
Surely, yeah. I think that if there's one thing I've kind of been reiterating, it's this idea that if we don't fully know the potential and how far the human being can go, then why are we so eager to accept hundreds of different types of augmentations and artificial life and things like this? And I don't really have anything against the technology or the science or the getting to know or figure this stuff out. I just am weary, sort of, as you're saying, in it coming in so many forms and so fast. And I think that's something that's been easily pointed out by, a lot of fiction for decades now. We're very familiar with, well, what if it got out of hand? And it's interesting to me that we've gone straight from the movies to developing that stuff and haven't really worked on the human being at all. And so that includes this darker side that we have, this, psychopathic, corporate elitist mentality that is showing up in so many forms and causes wars and things like that. And if that's the same kind of mindset behind the building of these machines, then we are going to be in quite a directly,
Are you there, both of you?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I'm hoping that we're all right now.
Are we live?
Well, we're going to be live in 9 minutes, but I don't know. I'm hoping that just keep talking then, and I'm hoping that'll all sort it out when it's booked in to come on. I think we're okay.
Okay, so no mentioning James Cameron films.
Right. Oh, are you adding them to Blog Talk? No. Yes. Yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so annoying. I do apologise, boys. I've probably broken in. Did you get cut off for a moment then? Or were you able to carry on talking?
I think I fully got cut off. It said that it was on hold, and then it basically said that I couldn't Skype anyone for a second, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So it should be all right now. But, yeah. Right. Anyway, what we were talking about was the whole thing with babies and children of the future, wasn't it?
Yeah, the transhuman agenda.
Yeah, the transhuman agenda. Yeah, as soon as I try and dial in, it sort of cuts. It's to say they can't understand why I can still hear you both, and that they can't hear anything in the chat on the station at all. So it's very strange.
All right. Well, what do we want to do, Sarah?
Right. Can we hang up and I'll try again from scratch and I'll dial you in again from scratch.
Let's do that.
I think that would be the best thing.
Okay.
So if we end the call and we'll try and dial back in and I'll just do everything from scratch again and go right through it again if that's all right. So I will see you in a bit then, boys. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right. Hello. Are you back, Jane?
Are we any better now?
Well, let's say we got we got you back. I've not managed to get Frank back yet.
We live?
We're not live because so literally the moment I dialed you in, it cut everything out again.
And my Skype crashed, so you may just want to try it.
Yeah, well, it just says host disconnected. It actually disconnected me as the host the moment I tried to dial you in because it was playing fine. It was playing all the jingles and everything.
Should we do phone numbers then?
Well, I don't.
That's what I had to do with the. I believe his name was Darren.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to have a word with Paul and see if we can do that. But if what it's doing is disconnecting me as the host, so I just don't know what to do. Anyway, I don't know if we've lost Frank as well. I can't seem to get Frank or Frank's not answering, so I'm just going to try him again. And see whether we can Frank zero. All right, but it just says he might be. I think he's sick of it. It just says he might be busy then. So I'm just trying to get him back. But I'm so sorry about this, James. I really are.
Well, what do we do? Because I'm really want to do this interview. If they're going to try to stop us.
Exactly. You see, I'm getting pretty good ratings.
Even right now, well, let me rephrase. So you're overall or like?
No, overall. I mean, live because of the time it is here. I don't get massively big ratings actually on the night, but actually, listening on podcasts and what have you, I get quite big ratings, and so they're really going out the way to stop this, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, what do they have in your slot right now?
Nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Can they do a pre-recorded show that you've done in the past?
Yeah, yeah, they'll be able to do that.
Okay.
If we set up another time, that's what we're going to have to do.
Okay. You could do that. I'm thinking because I got to be out the door at 3, so I'm thinking maybe we should just go along here. I'm still recording.
Good.
So you can go along and ask me questions, and then because I gotta have to go in another hour.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
if you want to Frank,
we finish at 7:15, which is 2:45 your time anyway. So, yeah, so we'll just carry on.
And then I'll give you the recording, and you can edit it all together if you want, and just play it next week.
Brilliant. That'd be really good. Or play it at some stage. That'd be really fantastic.
Okay.
But all I can say, James, I can just apologise. This has never, ever happened before, which goes to show how important you and Frank are, I think. And they really didn't want you and him on together. They really didn't. So I think that's very interesting and very telling, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
They definitely didn't want you two speaking on the same show. Because you've never spoken on the same show, have you, before?
No, not with Frank.
No. And yet you were saying to me something a bit cryptic to me. You thought you and him might have been working together at some stage. You seem to know him.
No, I don't think not Frank.
Were you just playing with me? I think I'm sure you've said on when you put a winky face on it and thought you might have been working together at some stage.
Oh, I don't know, but anyway. Yeah. So I guess. So where should we bring this conversation? Is Frank? I guess Frank's having trouble. Did he log out?
Yeah, I think. Well, I sort of logged out and I can't get him back on again. So whether he's just got fed up with trying or not, I don't know. Or
yeah, I think he boarded.
Yeah, yeah.
But
okay.
I'm still willing to stick with you for at least another 55 minutes. So
right, thank you very much.
So just go ahead and ask another question because I don't even know where to begin here.
No, I bet. It's absolutely, your story is absolutely fascinating, and I know David Lloyd has interviewed you before for Planet X, and I've listened to that interview, and you have really moved him with your story and what you've had to say about everything. and it's very, very interesting that they have never ever had this happen on the show where the actual host has been disconnected before.
Now, I like to comment here because we may think there's a group of people. At least we can assume that there might be a group of people that possibly are targeting your show and trying to prevent me from sharing my message. So if that is the case, we can just assume perhaps that might be the case. Then I don't really necessarily think it's the faction that I work with. I don't think like they're totally targeting me because at least from what I'm told anyway, the group that's actually trained me with this so-called Milabs are working with, because I'm an alpha soldier, super soldier, and the alphas are used primarily by the benevolent extraterrestrials, and I know that sounds like really almost like an oxymoron to think how these beings could possibly be benevolent if they're taking me against my will, but apparently what they're doing is they're using me, they're activating me, they take me out of my home, open up a portal, and they take me to a facility somewhere, we can assume, and then they put me into a trip chair or a trip seat, and they download memories or programs of whatever they want me to become, and they can also allow me to shapeshift. I believe I'm not quite sure if I shapeshift in my physical body or whether or not I'm in a clone avatar body. But at that point, they send me off on missions to basically exterminate people. I'm on what they call the cleanup crew, who are responsible for killing people that aren't really all that nice. In particular, like, let's say, for example, now I don't have any memory recall about this, but I know another individual who I believe I work with, and she's basically recalls being in Southern California. She was activated. She was in this skin-tight black suit. Well, that's what we wear at the base, but while on a mission, I'm not sure what she was wearing. But she infiltrated this family, a very, very wealthy family, as a nanny, and her job was to exterminate this child. And apparently what happened is this was a high-level Illuminati family, and this little girl was going to grow up and be a really just an abomination to humanity. And so Milabs wanted to have her exterminated, and also the parent got a hold of ET technology. So if there are certain individuals that are not necessarily of the most love and light, let's say, and they get a hold of these devices and alien technology that they're not supposed to, they send us in to take them out, or at least try to confiscate it if we could. So that just gives you an idea.
Do you think you're working for the good guys then, or not? Or do you think that you're being told you're working for the good guys so that you can do what you're doing?
Well,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, they claim that they're the good guys. So
yeah,
I don't know if you consider it a good. I mean, they're violating my free will by taking me out of my home and injecting me, and but I guess on the other hand, they are keeping me alive. Apparently, if I didn't see, the problem is that through the trauma and torture that I've been put through, there's parts of me that have been programmed like an attack dog. And if I stop getting these injections, at least one theory is that my alters, the other parts of me, will start to bleed into my daily life. Mm-hmm. And let's just say, for example, because in my alter form, I'm so telekinetic, I can lift an elephant, is what my profile says. So let's just say somebody is just teasing me, or maybe I'm in the grocery store and I'm in a really pissed off mood and somebody bumps into me and pisses me off. Well, if I was if my alters were bleeding through, I would quickly shapeshift and then punch their bang their skull apart or something, So at least some of the injections are to stop me from allowing the military side of me to integrate with my civilian life, because it would make my life pretty much a living hell. I would have to be very, very careful what I do and think.
do you have to be careful anyway? I'm just wondering because I'm a counsellor, and I do some treatments with people who have got dissociative identity disorder because of being put in the hive mind, etc. And I know that does bleed through into their daily lives. So does it anyway, or do you think that you are being so controlled that this isn't allowed to happen?
Well, I think the nano injections certainly do their part. But I want to integrate because the trauma that I've been put through is still causing me all sorts of barrage of all sorts of health problems. Like for instance, 3 months ago, I took a homeopathic medicine for PTSD. It was recommended for soldiers with PTSD. It's belladonna 30C.
Yeah.
Of course, in the UK, homeopathy is a lot more popular here in the United States, but
yeah. And I'm a complementary therapist too, so I started my life
in homeopathy.
Therapy. No, I don't do homeopathy.
Okay.
Only, well, I do complex homeopathy as part of the Vega testing that I do, but I don't do the classical homeopathy. So yeah.
All right. Well, so I took this remedy, and it's interesting because one of the drugs that have been coming up, at least in some of the profiling that I've been working with this naturopath physician, I was informed that my profile showed high levels of scopolamine exposure, which is a drug from South America that causes you to have temporarily memory loss. And I believe that somehow being exposed by taking the belladonna, it triggered something inside of me that allowed me to unlock this, whatever the scopolamine or whatever kind of drugs they give me for memory erasure. And I got really, really sick for about 3 weeks. Well, actually, it's more like 6 weeks, but it's been slowly getting better. But I developed a really bad sore throat, and I was trying to figure out, well, what's going on with this sore throat? And because here it is in July, and I got it back in April, and it still hurts. So apparently, what happened is that what we're able to pick up is that one of these missions that I was sent off, I was exposed to some kind of chemical that caused my throat to become basically destroyed. Now, some of these clone avatars they sent off are basically used for they have a self-destruct programming. So they're basically suicide missions. They put me in a clone body, and I go off and do the job, and then at the end of the day, I self-terminate. And so they don't really value human life like you or I do. And they don't necessarily value my avatars, even though I do the best of my ability to keep them alive. But I think somehow being exposed to this chemical is crossing over and bleeding through into my daily life. Now, that's just one example. But, I mean, there's other examples, too. I have all sorts of barrage problems with psychosomatic pains. I have, apparently, when they activate us at night, my insomnia gets a lot more intense. So I can tell when they're using me. It's really frustrating because I want to live my life without having to be turned into a little robot here, and I don't get compensation. You know what? Even if they did offer me compensation, I wouldn't want it because I don't want to go out and kill people.
No, and I can imagine actually having to do something like this totally against your will when it's not really you. Is really difficult to cope with, and I'm just wondering that the PTSD. Do you get PTSD from any of the memories that you do bleed through?
Oh yeah. Well, as far as like for instance, I have to be very careful watching certain movies. I saw even just watching the trailer for the new Oblivion movie with Tom Cruise just sort of set me off.
Yeah.
But I mean. Like I said, I have the insomnia and so forth, but I think I'm doing okay considering how I see what some people have to go through as far as trauma is concerned, and I think meditation really helps me out, and that that again goes into the NeoCube. Do you know anything about the NeoCube?
I've heard you talk about the NeoCube, but for people that, I mean, I would like to understand it more. I don't really understand it enough, I don't think. And certainly for my listeners, I would like to hear more about the NeoCube. And I know you were telling me that the meditation and some of the stuff you got could help with my dyslexia.
Yeah, well, meditation can help heal any condition. You just got to keep working at it, and it'll take you a couple years. But as far as meditation is concerned, what it actually helps you do, it brings your body into the alpha state of mind. Well, really, it's between alpha and theta, which is like that intense sense of daydreaming state where you're able to tap into an enormous amount of creativity, and it also keeps you calm even under pressure. So on a physical level, your body is able to integrate a lot faster because you have lower levels of stress on a day-to-day life, and stress is usually stress would be one of the biggest reasons why we get sick. So meditation all plays an important role in this, and I think meditation would be the most important thing you can do for a trauma victim. Or when I say trauma, I mean like emotional trauma, or combat veterans and police and so forth. But as far as the NeoCube is concerned, it's based on sacred geometry. The inside has human hair, which is crystals inside the DNA, which are scalar wave antennas, and allows you to tap into other dimensions and portals. So it helps. It's like a reality generator. And ever since I've been using the NeoCube, I guess it's been about 3 years now, my anxiety has gone way down, and so many doors have opened up to me in so many ways. It's like whatever I think about starts manifesting, and that's ultimately what we are designed to be, is to tap into our higher self, or really God. And through God, all things are possible. And that's what the powers that be don't want us to know or believe. They want to make us think that we have no power and that we are total slaves. But so this is all just important. Just being responsible and taking care of yourself is one of the first steps you could do. And it's not that much work, just 5-10 minutes. Well, actually, studies have shown you need to do at least 11 minutes a day of meditation. So, but I mean, for crying out loud, just take it out of your TV watching time.
Well, I don't watch that anyway. I just have to take it out of my studying time.
Oh, no. It's only 11 minutes, and the effects are really beneficial.
Yeah, so I'll have to do a Facebook detox for 11 minutes.
Yeah, and because I know you mentioned dyslexia. Now, I know studies have been done on meditation with ADHD, and a lot of these kids showed a lot, almost as good. I would say, of course, I don't remember the study exactly. I believe it was actually better improvement than the drugs, but I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't say.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a good job you're not a medical doctor, because I'm sure they kill far more people than you do when you're in Alta.
Oh yeah, right. Anyway, so that's the NeoCube. If you want to learn more about that, go to neologicaltech.com, and that's neologicaltech.com. And I should also mention I have another blog, supersoldiertalk.com. And you can find all my interviews that I've done with other people that I've regressed. I do that's one of the methods that I do to get information, is not just contacting various psychics, because most of these psychics are kind of questionable anyway. But when you start cross-referencing and comparing data from various remote viewing sessions and hypnotic regressions and the psychics, and you start piecing all this data together, and you start seeing patterns, like, for instance, all these patterns are saying I'm part of Project Surrogate, then it's probably true. So
yeah, I would say so. And your stuff really, as I said before, really overlaps a lot of the other stuff that I'm hearing. And I just wonder how many people are in mental health institutions because they're having an experience like you're having an experience.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that were part of these programs that didn't quite make the cut. Um, I should go ahead and tell you, according to actually this information was gathered from a contact in the NSA, and they said I was part of project. Well, one of the projects I was involved with was Project Abandon. And basically, what that is, like I said earlier, Project Surrogate, they grew us basically. Um, there was a batch of about 700 embryos, and we were grown up, and then inserted, at least I believe I was as a baby, into surrogate families, and most of us were basically not really able to make the cut. We, for whatever reason, maybe we had some kind of genetic defect, maybe we weren't able to take on the trauma as well, or maybe we weren't as powerful as they want us to be in certain areas. So I was part of Project Abandon. I was one of these failed projects. And what they were trying to do is inject us with nano injections to see if we could be recoverable. And apparently, I guess I was. I guess they managed to recover me and use me for exterminations. But a lot of people didn't make the cut, and most of these folks are either they're living with their parents still. Nothing really wrong with that. I mean, a lot of people do that because they don't have the money, but or they may be in they could be on drugs or have drug addiction problems, or be in the psych ward, mental hospital. It's really sad, but eventually technologies are going to come out in the future which will help heal these people, and a lot of this stuff is going to change. That is, if we go on the positive timeline, and that's ultimately dependent on whether or not the people, I would say the people listening to this and other interviews, or those that do have the ability to make decisions and change things, first of all, they have to become aware. And then they have to make a decision to actually do something, which I guess is kind of hard. I mean, how do you do anything about this? Like, for instance, the question is now is where are they? Who? Because the teleportation technology does exist. So like, where do they take me to? That's a good question. I'm not quite sure. I was told, at least in my profile. Again, here's the thing, multiple times, it showed up from multiple different people. It said that I've been at the Jackson facility. Are you familiar with the Jackson facility?
I've heard you talking about the Jackson facility, and I've listened to a couple of your interviews, and I've heard you talking about the Jackson facility, but I don't know whether my listeners will be familiar with the Jackson facility.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I was always curious, like, where's this Jackson facility? I thought, one person told me, well, it might be near Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and like, well, that's Dick Cheney's, territory. I think, well, maybe. And then an individual by the name of Mac came along, and I regressed Mac, and that interview is up on my blog, and it's also on YouTube where you can listen to it.
Yeah, I listened to that one. Very interesting.
He saw I asked him to go to a facility where he's being taken to. I didn't say Jackson facility. I just said a facility, and he goes in this area. It looked like a desert area, but it was like really red, and there was a huge energetic dome or something like that over this facility. And he went inside, and he found a computer, and he looked on the screen. And of course, a lot of these computers have screensavers. And I said, "Well, what do you see on the screen?" And he says, well, it looks like it says Jackson's facility. So I was like, oh, great. So, and apparently this is a Nazi Milab facility, and basically these are a faction of the Nazis that worked with extraterrestrial. They made deals with the Greys and reptilians, and they were allowed to enter into. I really don't know for sure, but I believe they were allowed to set up their own bases right next to theirs. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, sorry, James.
Oh, I
I've
heard
just
someone
added
else.
Paul. Yeah, I've just added Paul Giovanni who's the boss from our radio station. I've just added him to the call. So just carry on. But I thought it'd be really useful for you two to be in touch,
Okay.
and also I thought you could be able to send the stuff straight to Paul so we can put it on the radio
Oh yeah,
show.
yeah, I am
Yeah,
recording it, and of course there's like 2 different separate recordings. I'll just send you everything I got, so you can.
brilliant.
It might take you an hour or 2 hours, a couple hours to edit all this together, but that's all up to you. Anyway,
Yeah.
so shall I continue?
Yeah,
My-
continue on.
mine
I'm sure
okay.
Paul will like to dip in and out. He'll just
All
listen
right.
as he can do. Yeah.
All right. So, not knowing much else, because I mean, I was told that the Jackson facility was controlled by the Nazis, the whatever, or at least whatever's left of this alleged Fourth Reich, and apparently, so Mac went into this boardroom meeting, and he found out there were these high-level Nazis all in discussion, but he actually saw himself in a past life, because that's what his role was. When I have these people put under regressions, I don't necessarily. I mean, sometimes I do. I ask them to remote view what happened to me, but I try to make my shows about helping other people. So, Mac was getting visitations by beings coming into his room when he was a child. But when I say beings, they were actually humans with clipboards. They would come in, so he's trying to figure out, well, who are these beings? And apparently, in a past life, he worked for the FBI. I guess this would have been about in the 1950s or 60s. And his job was to infiltrate the Jackson facility. And it turns out it was on Mars. So it just shows you that I believe the highest levels of our intelligence agencies, they know what's going on. But, they're all muffled anyway. They got their hands tied behind their back. But his job was to work as a spy to infiltrate the facility to see what the Nazis were up to. And apparently he was caught. They killed him. So these in this life, these beings were coming to him when he was a child to examine him and just to monitor him or whatnot. Who knows? But so that was Mac's role in all this. And then fast forward, I had another individual. He remote viewed the Jackson facility for me, and he saw basically this. Remember I said there was this huge energetic dome?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was opaque, and sunlight is able to enter in. And inside, this is at least on the top level, is a huge. I mean, it's miles wide, and it's basically all these clone bodies of humans. And this is basically the gray, and it's a gray and reptilian facility on Mars, and they are cloning humans to be used for off-world ops. And what they do is they have to grow these clones in the sunlight for whatever reason. They need sunlight to grow. And they grow them up to about the age of 5 or 6 years old, and then they're released into the lower facility for further training. So they develop like any normal human being, but a lot of these kids are just they're treated so horribly, and they're traumatized beyond belief. They don't have the nurturing like we are here on planet Earth, but they also have some other clones in these facilities that are like blank slates. And what they do is they inject a virus into them, and it's like a memory virus, and they can insert memories through this virus into these clone bodies. And they send these clones off on missions that are basically self-destruct missions, or something where they don't need them afterward, because they only live for a few weeks. Those clones, but the other ones that are grown up for years and years, they live a long time. But I should also mention that none of these clones have any psychic abilities. Okay.
Is that the difference then? What is the difference between a normal human baby that has had a good start, and by a good start being involved in the birth networks, I would call a good start being a planned conscious conception, a healthy pregnancy, a natural birth with very little intervention, breastfed, non-vaccinated. So what would be the difference between a baby that had a very natural human
They probably wouldn't have ADHD and autism. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what, if you look at the statistics of the Amish people in Pennsylvania. um, I know this is going way off topic. I should just mention this real quick, but because this is interesting. Um, Apparently, out of all the Amish population in Pennsylvania, there was only 3 autistic kids, which is like statistically impossible if you compare. I'm not sure what the rates of autism are in the general
Weren't they
population.
adopted as well? I seem to think that
Uh,
they were actually adopted in as well.
no, actually, it's curious because these 3 kids were all vaccinated.
Yeah.
And the
Hmm.
Amish people do not believe in vaccinations, what I'm trying to say. So for whatever reason, they got vaccinated, and then they came down with autism. So that just shows you right there, autism is a generated disorder. But but going back to the topic here, uh, I believe the reason why, again, going back to Project Surrogate, the reason why they could have just kept me in an underground base along with those other boys on Mars or where the hell I was growing up. That's probably where I originated. I don't know, but they found that when you insert us into a loving family that provides us to give us nurturing support, they find us to be a lot more healthy and a lot more gifted and effective fighter. So, but likewise, they have to split our mind, and so we're able to live a civilian life and think that everything's love and light. But on the other hand, they get their hands on us and use us for exterminations. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense.
Okay.
And again, it's the comparison, if you like, between, for me, that's what I'm interested in, the comparison between this robotic way of being brought up, that you may have started life like that. You've already noted that there are some children that have had it, who have been grown, who have had it far worse than you have, but you've not had very nice experiences. But what I'm concerned about is that is the way that humanity is being funneled, so that everybody will be the way you have been brought up or worse, rather
Yeah.
than the
Right.
natural angelic human, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. So that goes back to what I said earlier, that basically they want to create a slave class of humanity, and that's where we're all headed to. That's why it's so important for us to somehow stop this. And awareness is a start. Um, Meditation and self healing, of course. I mean, I can't really say just praying and it's going to make it all go away. I wish I could claim that, because I've been prayed so much that these portals would close and they would leave me alone. But uh, I guess they have their own agendas to follow. And that's the other thing I want to mention here, is because I really haven't made the distinction between the Alpha group and the Nazis, because to the listeners it may sound like that I've been doing work for the Nazis all along, when there was these extraterrestrials. So I really don't quite know. I believe, at least what I've been told anyway, the Galactic Federation of Light uses some of us for their exterminations. And I know that sounds like, it's not so much love and light, but I guess apparently they have their own military force, and I guess I'm part of it. And then the Nazis have their own military force, and they themselves, I mean, you might think them of some super powerful group or something that's like total, almost like from a James Bond flick. They're like impenetrable. But the truth is that faction is slowly being decimated. There's been wars going on right now. Apparently, there's a group of mantoid beings that have been are really pissed off what's going on here on this planet. Of course, they have their laws of non-interference, but our free will has been interfered with so much that they have been decimating a lot of these underground facilities. And the Nazi faction, apparently, about 80% or really about 78% of their personnel, their bases, and all this has been destroyed here on this planet. And there's another faction. It's the American secret government. Okay, this faction is what controls basically the New World Order. Okay,
Yeah.
And these guys, the people that run them are they're insane. All right, they are already they've got so much technology, so much power, and they have done and they have just destroying the planet. And so these Nazis right now are not really running the show, even though you think of them as just. Of course, I mean, I've been told anyway that they've got a hold of they've got a hold of my DNA and may have a clone of me. So I probably got a clone doing some work for them too.
How just butting in and please come back to what you were saying. But how many clones do you think you've got running about of yourself?
Oh, geez, I don't know. That's a good question. I wouldn't even know how to know. I mean, I guess I could probably try to remote view all the psychic cords and stuff, but and it is important that somehow I'm able to stop them from using my clones, because whatever trauma they do to my clone affects me, even though the clone doesn't really have a soul, but my consciousness is connected to it. Like, for instance, there was another individual I regressed. Her name was Susie, and I asked her, well, what do you think they used one of my clones for? And she was picking up, well, James, I hate to tell you this, but apparently they're using him for gay sex. So there's one faction, I believe this is the Illuminati faction, but apparently the name we got was the illegitimate son of Robert Kennedy was using, I don't know, are you even allowed to talk about this stuff on there?
Yeah, talk what
It's not, I'm not going anything kinky here, but
no, on this station you can talk about what the hell you want, can't you, Paul?
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah, so she was basically seeing that they have a clone of me, and he's in the military, and there's an area in this military base where they take them, they put drugs in the mess hall, and they take them down in this dungeon where basically these very wealthy men, and they're all reptilians that look like white people, but they're reptilian shapeshifters, and they use him and the other people as well. They take people right on the military bases. They do these kind of things to them, as what she was picking up. Now, I don't know. Maybe this is like a really bizarre dream. Well, I can't. It's not a dream because I'm getting needle marks. Gosh,
yeah.
I wish I could say.
Yeah,
so
I say if it was a bizarre dream, yeah, you could put that. But the needle marks are a bit of a giveaway that there's something's going on, isn't it?
Did you happen a chance to see those two pictures I sent?
I haven't, no, with all what's been going on.
Okay.
And I'm somebody that has to concentrate on listening to somebody talking,
Okay.
and so I know what questions to ask and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I prefer. I'll have a look at them afterwards.
All right.
But no, I really need to concentrate. And as you noticed, I was quite distracted while we were having all the technical problems. I was very, very distracted. It was a bit rubbish, so I do apologise.
So I guess,
guys, sorry. Before we I have to go and set up for the next show, Sarah and James. So forgive me, I have to go at this point. But it's great listening to you, James.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
But, James is going to send you the audio because he's recording this, and James is going to send you the audio, Paul, so you'll be able to play it.
Great stuff. No worries. We'll get that on for next week. Yep.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for helping me out, Paul. Cheers. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Yeah. Go on. Carry on, James. Sorry about that.
So before we started jumping around here, the point I was trying to get to earlier is that I believe there's 3 different factions that are doing this to humanity, that are using these super soldiers. There's one, the American Shadow or Secret Government, which uses us. They actually, I believe they have clones of us, and we project our consciousness into these clones, and they use us for missions either in Iraq or Afghanistan or God knows where. Then there's the Galactic Federation of Light, and then they use us. They activate us and have us exterminate really bad people within the Illuminati. So they got their agenda. And then there's the Nazis, who are sort of like, between both of these factions, and they're kind of like they're losing their power, but they work with like the negative grays and reptilians. So we're like, and even between the different ET races and star races, the Mantoids and all these different beings, they all got their agendas, and they get a hold of us and put us in that, program us, and so like it's kind of It's kind of so that's what I'm saying. I really don't. I can't say who they are because they never really show themselves. Not really, anyway.
Who would you think then, from what's happened tonight? And it's pretty extreme. I think if I'd have had a chance to ask Paul, as I said, he reckons that this has never ever happened before. The radio station has been going for over a year, so all of these interviews, and this has never ever happened before. So, who would you say is trying to stop you talking?
Probably the American shadow government faction. They don't really like too much of all this disclosure because it sort of rocks their boat. They enjoy using us. I mean, where else are they going to get somebody who's telekinetic and they can brainwash us, throw us in the chair, and they don't have to pay us. So we're really good, and because they take all our memories away, we don't remember anything they do. So there's no liability towards them anyway. So I guess it's a really good deal for them, but not so good for us. Anyway, but there are higher universal laws like karma, and I think a lot of these people just don't have a soul. So I guess in some regards they, I don't really know if karma is going to bite them in the ass eventually, but it would be nice to see it happen in my lifetime, or at least soon. I like to see it happen within the next 2 years because we're going to see a lot of disclosure between now and 2015.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right, because I'm involved with the EMASH project in that I volunteered to be the children's counsellor. But as you probably know, everything within the EMASH project has just gone completely bonkers. They've had a big fallout, and I don't know what sort of factions are getting involved there either. And it was a very, very good project as far as I could see. That has been, I think it's been firebombed from some direction, and I'm not quite sure which direction it's been firebombed from. Well, but what I've noticed is that the people and the children that are reporting abduction experiences, and please, add your thoughts on this. They seem to be children who there's a bloodline connection. There's also there's some connection with off-planet families. They feel like their souls belong to off-planet families, and there seems to be an agenda to help humanity reach its own true potential on one thing, and then there seems to be their robotic, engineered slave race agenda on the other. And the abduction seems to go two ways. There's a more positive experience where people are given knowledge, but then there's the more like Milab abductions where it's almost as if they're trying to find out what's happened with the other abduction. Do you think that makes sense, or because I'm not an experiencer myself? Well, I'm very interested in the experiences.
And remember, I mentioned earlier how the Nazi Milab faction, they were controlled by the Greys and Reptilians, who in turn, they have their own hierarchy. Now, when I say they, not all Greys and Reptilians are plugged into this, what you call the hive mind.
Yeah.
There was one mission that I was sent off to, and this information was gathered through remote viewing, but I was put into an avatar body that was reptilian. It was a white form reptilian, and I was sent off to infiltrate Orion Prime, which is the Draco homeworld. And again, within the reptilian hierarchy, the Dracos run the group, the whole clan. And and especially the white Dracos. So the whiter the color, the higher rank you are within their hierarchy. For whatever reason, they view the white color ones as royalty. So I was in a white form reptilian body, and my job was to deliver a message of what the secret government was doing here on planet Earth. And so I delivered my report, and this planet had all these buildings were like giant spires, like you see in the movie Star Wars, the Imperial Planet, and the planet was run like a fascist state. So if you think about like how the control grid is being set up here on this planet, I know at least in the UK, I know they use a lot of surveillance. It on Orion Prime, it's like that to like ninth degree, and everybody's mind controlled. There's very few people have any free will, and if you do want to break away, you have to basically you have to leave the planet. So, and as far as what the report that was delivered, basically it showed how many ships the secret government had. I believe it was about 300, and then it said how many people. No, it said how many grays, because they're actually delivering gray robots to abduct people on this planet, and they abduct them for genetic manipulation and also to exterminate people they don't want, give them drugs, give them diseases or cancer they want to kill off. So they're giving the Dracos are giving about 250,000 of these grays annually to the secret government. And it also talked a little about some of the blood and sex orgies that they've been conducting. They abduct people here on this planet. They take them to Orion Prime, and I don't know whether they're physically going through these orgies, but what they actually do, these Dracos, is they create avatars of grays, and then they do the orgy through these avatars, and it's like so bizarre. You think about pentagrams and all this stuff around them, and it's blood orgies, so they self exterminate themselves, and it's really weird. But so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people here on this planet had been taken there, had these rituals done to them, and then memories wiped and put back. And I've actually known some individuals who I believe have had this or had this happen to them. And chances are I've probably been through the same rituals too, but I don't recall it. But
I've had somebody contact me today actually, asking for help.
So yeah. So are they seeing themselves involved in rituals of black robes and?
They know that they are passing out. They're doing something. They're doing something. They're passing out. They're coming to with a needle mark in their bum, and they know they are being sexually interfered with.
Yeah.
Well, they've got no memories at all, but they know that there's missing time and there's needle marks.
Yeah, well, teleportation is real. As far as the needle marks injections, I don't believe the benevolent ETs are allowed to come here and inject people. So if they're getting injections, it's probably connected to the reptilian faction, because they're the ones that are using people for genetic experimentation, and the reptilians view this planet as their property, almost like how a farmer views their cows as their cattle, as their own property. So we really need to break away from this control matrix of this. And like I said, I don't think all reptilians are bad, but the ones that are controlling this planet don't really view humanity in to the really want to allow humanity to reach its highest potential. They want to keep us down and controlled. Obviously, yeah. I guess it's a lot easier to use us as a resource if we're disempowered, such as your friend there who's abducted.
And I was it's a shame that we did lose Frank there, because he very much is of the opinion, from what I can gather from listening to his stuff, that we have not even begun to explore what we are capable of within our own minds. We probably knew it. It's probably lost knowledge. We've known it at some stage with the shamanic stuff and what have you, but we've either lost or not ever achieved what we're capable of without intervention.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you have any other questions about any of these facilities or anything?
Well, I would love to talk to you all night, James, but I know you've got to get off, haven't you?
we got about 10 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, good. As long as you're all right to talk, that's fantastic. Yeah. So What other memories have you got of underground facilities, or have you actually been able to recover any childhood memories of the underground facilities? And when I know you've been talking to Michael Prince quite a lot recently, and do you think you're working for the same factions or different factions, or what's happening there? And have you known him before?
One question at a time.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
All right.
I thought I'd got them all in there and just pick which one you want.
Well, as far as memories, I mean, I do get flashes of memories of like I see myself. It looks like in a nighttime scenario, and I'm in a black uniform with a gun, and I'm waiting around in some kind of I say it looks like some kind. The walls are concrete. It looks like I'm underground, but there's no lights, and there's water waiting. You know, like it's like flooded out partially. I see myself there. I see myself jumping out of aircraft. No parachute. And I also had other memories just busting in a door and shooting people and so these are like a little bit of flashes of memory that are bleeding through. Now, here's the problem. They put me in the trip chair and they erase the memories. And I really should rephrase that. They can't technically erase my memories. What they do is they take the memories and they shift it around into a different compartment in my aura. So all our memories are not stored in our brain. I don't know. I don't even know what they teach in medical literature, but the memories are stored within the aura, the astral body around us,
and the body itself. I mean, I do a lot of work with
with
trauma stored in the body,
like with the DNA inside the body too.
Yeah.
Okay, but the brain itself is just a computer. So when they put this in these chairs, they can't erase the memories. What they can do is they can tuck it neatly, pack it away into a small compartment within my aura. So somehow I need to integrate all this around me, and I'll be able to recall. But now I just forgot where I was going to go with all that. But I guess the point is that they're erasing my memories. And so when I'm able to get these flashes of memories, the only way I'm really able to tap into it is if I remote view it or if I meditate. So my remote viewing abilities is so, but I'm working on it. And sometimes I get things if I talk to certain people about certain missions, and sometimes things come through. But I've got a lot of work to go there, and I think one of the reasons why they've put so much amnesia barriers around me is because, at least what I've been told anyway, I'm really high up in these projects. And I know you mentioned something about Casbolt.
Yeah.
I know he likes to style himself as a commander. I believe I'm actually the commander, and he's like a low-level grunt. I hope he's not going to hear this. From what I've been told anyway, he's just, he's being used like the rest of us, but he's not like what he thinks he is. But apparently I'm the one who trains the other guys, and of course they do send me out on missions as well. So I guess as far as what my role would be in some of these combat missions, of course, I was told reconnaissance is one thing they do, which is like information gathering. But also, they would send me out to, as a unit leader, to exterminate people. I would have a gun, and I would have just any kind of standard Black Ops suit. Of course, this is all in my avatar body, or the other form. Not as James Rink. James Rink doesn't condone violence, so I just want to mention
and the more and again, this is a shame we've lost Frank, because the more that I'm listening to you, the more I am getting the sort of alter ego type of thing with the Superman with the Clark Kent, and then the Superman and that sort of thing. You are the archetypal, mild-mannered, slightly geeky, if you don't mind me saying, person. And I can't, just to think of you as this other person just blows my mind a little bit. So I wonder what you want to say about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, It's hard to imagine because it's so unbecoming of me to even think about conducting violence on others. But apparently, once they put me in that trip chair, they can program me and put me make me think I'm I don't know, make me think I'm Rambo or something. I don't know what they do.
You see, for me, you don't have to put me in the trip chair. You just have to give me a Bacardi. Just give me sugar-based alcohol. I turn into a raving nutter. Yeah, so it beats any trip chair, I'll tell you. Just get me in a nightclub with a Bacardi. Yeah. So, how are you doing for time, James? How you doing?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wrap this up now. So I gave out of course, go to my blog, supersoldiertalk.com, to learn more about the different regressions that I've done. And there's other information on there too, really a wealth of knowledge about this whole subject. And if you want to learn more about the cube, you can go to neologicaltech.com. So that's basically my story in a nutshell. It's
brilliant. And if you don't mind, if you could drop me those on Facebook, and then I'll add them all to Skype, my followers on Skype and everybody on Facebook and Twitter and whatever else I'm on. So if you don't mind dropping those in, that'd be really good. Because I'm undoubtedly I spell it wrong. So it'd be really good if you wouldn't mind doing that.
You spell what wrong?
I would, if I was trying to actually, I've written it down, but I will spell it wrong and get it all wrong. So if you don't mind popping it in for me, then that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, all I can apologise for everything that's gone wrong, but hopefully we've got some good stuff from this interview for the past hour, especially. So thank you very, very much, then, James. Thank you.
Can should I send you the file through Dropbox, or do you want me to do it through Skype?
Either really, but if you want to try and put it on this one, at least Paul's got a direct contact with it then, hasn't he? Because that's why I added Paul into the call, and then if Frank wants anything off it, he can have it as well, can't he?
Yeah, the only problem is because I need to go out now, so
No, don't have to do it now. Don't worry, because it'll still be there, won't it? It'll still be up. The chat bit will still be up for weeks, won't it? So.
Yeah, but I think it's going to take. Because Skype is really slow when.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, they just be faster. I just put it on Dropbox, and I'll send you a link on here, and then.
Brilliant then. Yeah, that'd be good. I've got Dropbox anyway, so that'd be good.
All right.